Hello there. So I wanted to talk about the Twilight Crossroads. It is a concept, a place, a mentality, a way of tapping into deeper levels of yourself and various levels of reality. It's also a place to do powerful magic. Um, I consider it a place to merge worlds, to create, to destroy, to see the nature of things, so to say. I would suggest experimenting during different times of day. I mean, find yourselves an actual crossroads. And I've discussed in previous chats, a crossroads can be many things. I mean, traditionally, when you think of a crossroads, you think of, two roads adjoining perpendicularly, like crossroads. It can be that, you can find physical representations of crossroads, of course, in nature, in cities, in architecture. Um, it's just, it's where two roads meet or two paths meet, perhaps. If you find a literal crossroads, I suggest going out before dusk. And once you choose your designated spot, um, I would suggest preferably a private, semi-secluded location. And I want you to stand just outside the intersection of this crossroads. You take a few deep breaths, you center yourself. And as you do this, let your gaze wander along the lines of the path, the road, the river, or the architectural juncture, wherever you find yourself at a crossroads. And I have found that if you let your gaze kind of wander and just touch upon the lines, the angles, um, like these angles, these geometries, they embed themselves into your brain. And from my perspective, it forms an energetic type of sigil, like of an actual place. Now, energy and angles are interesting things to study, how energy behaves under certain conditions within the context of certain angles. How you can speed up energy, slow down energy, block it, ways that you can navigate energy more effectively when you take specific angles into consideration. So the shape of this energetic sigil is not necessarily something that you have to memorize or be overly concerned with. Um, you know, but I want to say later on, you might actually have after images, kind of like, if you're staring at a light, you might have patterns emerge. So as you're at this crossroads and gazing, you might actually find yourself, seeing these patterns at later times. And, if that occurs, you can try to trace it. You can try to just remember it in that way, and that could be beneficial later on. But for this exercise, you know, don't be overly worried about memorizing the sigil pattern. Um, so, you might get a particular image, trace it down, and you can use it to like activate the gateway. But as you gaze at this location, you might find that it will shimmer. It might become kind of wavy, or it might disappear altogether, especially in the peripheral vision, the angle of the vision. And when that occurs, I want you to step into the crossroads. And once you're there, I want you to place your body fully in line along the path, as if you're like facing it head on or walking down the street. And feel the energy meet you there, flow through you, flow around you, and just see how that feels. And once you get a taste of its essence, reach out your energy. And those of you skilled in energy manipulation, reach out a tendril, send out a tendril. and just kind of take it in, take in the energy. And, it's as if you're putting your hand in a river and drawing it into yourself and let it fill you up. And, energy like water will often swirl around you and follow the path of least resistance. I want you to allow yourself to become a vessel to contain it, but also ensure that it can still flow freely out of you. One way to do that is, kind of tap into the void. And I've also discussed this previously. You should be able to tap into that void space within, without. If you are rooted there, you have kind of one foot in both worlds, that becomes a very natural process. So you can attach the energy that you bring from the crossroads into that void space. And, it merges and integrates with the energy there. And when you're tapped into that, it merges with you as well. So it becomes kind of part of your personal energy. I find that, when you loop energy, like through a crossroads into the void, where part of your essence also resides, it creates a circuit, through the crossroads, through you into the void, and then back up and out of you. And you can direct that for all kinds of ritual purposes, like a Mobius strip, a figure eight. So after that, I want you to align yourself with the other paths of the crossroad, and do the same one with each one in turn. So each direction of this crossroads, whether it's a 2-lane crossroad or multiple, do this with every direction in the crossroad where there is a cross, a juncture. Feel the energy, do the tendril, pull it through you, down into the void space and back out, and let it just kind of flow and then swirl around you. And it just will integrate the energy more fully. It will become a place of power, for you. I mean, your power is within, it's also without, but you're creating a gateway, an energetic gateway that is unique to you. You do this in turn, and then it becomes a natural process. Every time that you find an interesting energetic spot, this process can happen rather rapidly. You become a master weaver, handling multiple strings of reality at once. And rather than like a single spider creating a lovely web with one strand, you're creating this tapestry of reality. And this basically creates a type of spiritual biocircuitry that links all of these elements together. And what you're doing is weaving the DNA of the crossroads into you and your personal space within the abyss. You're reinforcing a fractal pattern of energy. And, nature is fractal on all levels when you get down to the building blocks, and you'll find fractals everywhere in nature. The energy can cycle up and out, and it has to condense to go through you, and it picks up momentum. It can take many forms. You can give it form. It has an interesting feel and, like the flavor of a place, if you will, the flavor of the energy. And what this does, when you do this enough and with enough sensitivity to the energy, it rips a seam in the fabric of reality in the middle of the crossroads. And as you're doing this, you might feel heat. You might feel friction in your body, and that's due to the influx of the rush of energy. It sometimes might feel uncomfortable even at times, but not unbearable. You can take it. You were made for this, magical people. are aware of energy. You know, it might feel like a lot, but you can always hold more than you think that you can. Um, so an example, and I'll use a personal example. So consider a river of energy as a straight angle representing 90 degrees in which you are aligned. And if you were in the stream, the water would hit you head on and cause turbulence in the flow of energy, aka water. And like, so that 90 degrees, is it's good for filling up of energy. That rush, that headlong, there's a lot of resistance and friction. Um, it's good for like a rapid fill up of quick energy. If you were to stand, like if you were in a river and then you're standing sideways to the river, like if the water is coming towards you and you're facing like the other shore, then the water actually kind of goes around you with minimal resistance because you're decreasing the surface area of your body to the water, basically. And it passes around you on all sides. If you were to, walk across the water at that angle, it's the easiest way to hold ground, if you were crossing a river, because you're not met with as much resistance. But if you're going to navigate a current, then the important angle is 45 degrees, in a literal river. In an actual flow of water, if you angle your body like 45 degrees, your body becomes like a rudder. And I learned this in a swiftwater rescue class when I was, once upon a time, um, doing the medic and fire thing. And we had swiftwater rescue. And, we're out in the middle of the San Am River in Oregon in November a lot of years ago. We had wetsuits on, but it was still pretty cold. And, say like if I wanted to float down the river and, of course we had life vests on too. So, you're bobbing along the river. And if I wanted to reach the shore, like to my left, then I would angle my feet right at 45 degrees. And, it would act as a rudder to then push me left. My body's kind of at a 90-degree angle. Like I'm sitting in a chair, but in a river, but then your legs would be kind of stuck out in front of you and angling as a rudder. That's how you steer the river. So, if you apply that to energy, interesting things happen because, the angle of rooms, the angle of furniture, the angle of your body in relation to these things can affect it can affect a lot of things, your mood, how you feel, if a room or a place feels right or wrong. So play with angles, moving furniture, moving things in your space, until they feel right, is something interesting to do every now and then. If you ever feel stagnant in life, then move your furniture. I've not really studied like traditional feng shui, but placing objects, does have an impact on energy. But I would say, use your intuition, go with what feels right to you, and just play with it. So, if you place yourself, within the crossroads at a 45-degree angle, you create just enough turbulence to, catch the energy. But it's in a more controlled manner. So it's not just like a rush headlong, it's not just flowing around you. It's a more controlled type of thing. So you can just become more sensitized to energy doing an exercise like this. So when you are facing the corner of the crossroads, you're at the angle. If you face the corner, you're at an angle. And once you feel the energy rise up and just build from the depths of that space, you can see the darkness flow out and expand beyond your body. And I want you to imagine that you are at the center of a black book, which is laying on its spine. And, you're amongst the folded pages. The book is upright, but it's like folded. And think about the angle. The book is 90 degrees to the ground, basically. And you can kind of envision that. And, as the energy comes up, you can then anchor that energy to to these corners. And, you can shift and turn the pages. And that's like equivalent to accessing different layers of reality. And, you're always in the middle, and the pages flow through you. Um, Reality in that way is then bent and brought towards you before being laid out before you, if that makes sense. Um, and when you slip through this gate, through the rift, you ride the current. Um, Depending on where you are at, will determine like the type of crossroads you encounter. It's like stepping into a spiritual city, a crowded city, perhaps. You might find yourself amongst the hustle and bustle. You may feel a lot of activity. Um, you might come across different types of entities. Um, you might encounter, different types of guides, different types of teachers, learn their secrets, learn their wisdom. If you approach them with respect, they can instruct you in any number of art forms. Um, a physical location seems to kind of be a clue as to the type of crossroads in it, and the likely resonance that it will have on the other side once you step into it. Um, some crossroads are quieter. They might feel like more listless, more solemn. And then there are what I call ghost roads, where like the shades and memories walk, like memories of people, you know, and in that kind of a place, it's like an aspect of a person that just, wanders. They're left behind. It's like the psychic imprint, after physical death. Um, And it's like these entities are basically walking libraries. You know, they can replay all kinds of events. Um, you can learn a lot from interacting with them. Um, when you evoke the soul of a person, then that's like the aspect that's conjured. Um, Another type of crossroads in place, that I like is the ocean, because it's literally like the meeting of two very different worlds. Um, it's also kind of a twilight place. It can have a similar feel. Um, Anywhere that you have really different landscape or terrain meeting up, it's a natural crossroad. And it has that crossroad energy and can be worked with in the same way as like a physical, literal crossroad. Um, Another interesting thing that I've kind of discovered and played with are like the crossroads between light and shadow. Um, Playing with light, playing with shadow, can also do really interesting things, to your psyche, to your space, to your magic. I can get into more of that later as well. But, if you have like limited means to go out, maybe you like stay home or stay inside a lot. A lot of you are, more home bodies, and that's fine. We go through seasons of maybe going out and staying in. But like if you're just like in your house, like think about where a door meets a hallway, that's a natural crossroads. Or where a window crosses the trajectory, of a room, and it forms a crossroads. So you can be creative in looking for crossroads within your own space without having to actually leave your space. Um, so while you're in the crossroads with this understanding, think of like each page of that book that we mentioned is a resonance. It's an outcome. And when you open it, it unfolds upon the current reality. It settles upon the land as the sun dips beyond the horizon. Dusk and dawn are crossroads times. So that's why I suggest, doing it at dawn or dusk, because those are natural crossroads times when working with the crossroads. Just the energy is very balanced and conducive for that type of work. But as long as you understand the deeper meaning, of that transition, you can really do it at any time. But during your time at the Twilight Crossroads, you can explore and experience these different layers of reality that you're laying out. You can see the world through these different filters, these different chapters. And using that analogy, you can kind of create a bookmark, an energetic bookmark. And you can also tie that to the crossroads energetically, like we discussed before. And anytime you visit this place upon your return, just like returning to a book in a bookmark, you just have to reach out energetically and, you know, feel that energy signature. And, you find your place, you find that resonance, and you know what page to open to, which is that particular reality that you're resonating with. And, like a cosmic Rubik's Cube, it has endless configurations. So whenever you're done there, release your hold on the energy, allow it to recede back into the void. The tethers you create within this crossroads, they can be permanent if you wish. You can leave things as they are. And each time you come there, the stronger your connection will be. And because it's tuned to your unique frequency, because it came through you and into your space in the void, it's like you have the master key for that space. And, most normal mundane people passing by that spot may or may not really perceive much. Only really discerning people, sensitive to energy, might feel that something is a bit different, that something has been done there. They might feel a shift and the actual rift in that location. And as you get ready to leave, you step out of the crossroads, let your energy settle, kind of return it to normal, though that's kind of a subjective thing. For people who work with crossroads, I guess normal is subjective. And as you go, you carry a piece of it within yourself. And you yourself have become a crossroad of twilight, both here and there. And, you can enter back into daily life, have a sharper awareness of corners and angles and how energy behaves in each, and use it to your benefit. So with that, I'll talk to you later. Take care.